Um, so welcome to the first MSPCyberX Townhall meeting. It's going to be kind of an informal gathering every month. We'll from time to time have special topics and that sort of thing. Just want to kind of give you all an overview of what we've been doing and some news around from what just kind of share with you some of the things and give you a little bit of a walkthrough of Slack and navigating, because I know that's been a challenge to get around Slack. So I'll show you what we're doing in there and how we're trying to make it a little more user friendly. Then talk about some of the upcoming events and talk Q&A. You all are seeing my screen, right? I'm sharing the presentation. So I just want to start out by just kind of level setting on the mission of MSPCyberX. You all have joined, which is fantastic. And we want more people to join and get the community up, because our mission is really to help as many small businesses as possible, right? And how do we help small businesses? We get the MSPs all on the same page, and then you help your customers, right? That is really what it's all about. So it's about empowering the MSPs, getting the knowledge and the resources in your hands to meet your cybersecurity challenges, meet your clients' cybersecurity challenges, and go forward. And I shared on our CMC office hours this morning that it's my perspective, my view, my opinion that the MSPs are going to be, the MSP industry itself is going to be become a regulated critical infrastructure of the nation. So I think we're going to see more and more regulations coming down from the government to help MSPs better serve their clients and make sure that the clients are protected. So that's what's headed down the pike. Oh, I'm telling. Okay, there's told it to admit people and it didn't admit them. Here they come. All right, there's Toby and Matt, but it's not letting Matt in for some reason. All right. Hey, Toby.
Hello.
Welcome. So, how we're going to accomplish all this, to help MSPs with in operation and education, right? So we're going to provide resources. We're going to try to have a collaborative environment, which is what Slack's all about and what we're trying to do with these meetings as well. This is, I'm going to talk a lot here at the beginning, but then we're going to open it up and have some open dialogue and some Q&A and things with you all, because that's what it's a town hall. It's not a lecture, right? That's the whole point. So that's we're going to, our goals, overall, are to become, the premier cybersecurity information exchange for MSPs, right? And I think, we're a rare place for MSPs to come in and ask direct questions, get direct answers from cybersecurity professionals and their peers. That doesn't happen to many other places. You get a lot of data coming out. You get a lot of great information out there on the internet. So we're going to gather all that information up and provide it. But we think that this is the forum that we can actually help MSPs achieve their goals and work better. So all you members, I think, are legs up on your competition by getting in there. And the other goal is to prepare you, like we said before, for all the compliance challenges that you face and the compliance challenges your clients face, and to be a community for raising those questions up and running compliant cybersecurity programs. So, what's been happening in MSPCyberX over the last months? So we launched officially on February 14th of this year, Valentine's Day. Did that intentionally because it's a passion project for me. So Valentine's Day is a good time to launch passion projects. And in April, thanks to good counsel from some friends that are on the call here, like Toby, we decided to incorporate MSPCyberX as a separate entity from my other company. And so we spun out a Maryland not-for-profit company, and we've just finished our filing with the IRS to become a IRS 501c3, a charitable organization, which is great. And as soon as we get that authorization from the IRS or approval or whatever they call it, we believe that there might be some benefits, more additional benefits coming to the members. Like there's certain portions of your membership fees that you might be able to write off on your taxes and that sort of thing. So more to come on that as we go. We also developed a quarterly newsletter. And if you haven't seen it, it is up on the website. And I'll show you how to get to the good stuff on the website here shortly too. But it's kind of a fun format. We tried to model it after a small town newspaper. It's called the MSPCyberX Files. Why not, right? And that's if those of you who are old enough to remember the X Files, it might make sense. And so we're going to share every quarter. We'll share some of the goings on. In this one, we shared things like, hey, back in December of 2023, this initiative was actually announced by the National Cyber Director, and it's actually listed as a cyber workforce development initiative on the White House's website. So what that really meant was I committed to the White House that I was going to do something, and I've been darn well better do it. And we accomplished it. So in February we launched, as we told the White House we would, and actually as of earlier this month, we topped over the other commitment I made, which was to have at least 100 members. I believe we're up to about 120 members to date, on both the informed side and the active member side. You all are active members, so you get to participate in these calls. So that was fun. And then we're going to publish, different articles in the newsletter. Like, we had one of our contributors provided from MSPCyber Solutions provided a nice write-up on the NIST CSF 2.0 that was timely at the time. We'll give you some ideas of what's going on around the town, and around the different forums in the town, in the Slack channel. And we in this publication we named our steering committee. Steering committee currently consists of Bobby Guerra, Shell Phillips, Toby Musser, and Kevin Mann. Toby and Kevin are on the call, so that's nice. So that's our steering committee. So all MSPs, right? Because I'm a cybersecurity geek, in case you didn't know that. I'm a cybersecurity geek. I'm not an MSP. So we want this community to be driven by MSPs. It's a community of MSPs for MSPs, with cybersecurity people just helping you along the way. So that's the whole idea. So our steering committee will always be made up of MSPs to help guide us along the way. And then we've changed some of our structure on membership as well. So anyway, that's just the newsletter. And I'm working on one now for Q2, because I'm obviously behind, because Q2 is already behind us. So we'll be doing that, quarterly newsletters. We formed the steering committee, as I said, and we also, because we're a not-for-profit, and going to be a 501c3 as soon as the IRS blesses us, we needed a board of directors. So we formed a very illustrious board of directors, all people from the MSP community again, except for me at the top there. So board consists of myself as the president. Toby Musser is our treasurer. Shell Phillips, who some of you may know, is our secretary. And then other members are Kurt Dukes. Kurt is a vice president at the Center for Internet Security. So we wanted to have that influence in the group as well. And Matt Lee from PAX 8, and then Max Pruger from Kaseya are on the board currently. We'll continue to expand the board. What we're looking for in the board members are people that are wildly influential in the MSP space, and to broaden our reach and provide good guidance from that perspective. And again, we have a membership drive going on, and just a little highlight of that. What we're offering right now for all of our active members is if you refer somebody in that signs up as an active member, you'll receive a credit for 1 month of their worth of their membership fee. So if their membership fee is $250 a month, you'll get a credit for $250 for every member that you refer. So that is a pretty good incentive, because think about it. I mean, if you're a $250 a month member and you refer 12 new members, you got a free year of membership there. So I'd say go out and drum up, talk to everybody you know in the MSP community, and tell them they need to come join us and participate. The key is participation. I mean, it's great that we're going to have people join, but people also need to participate. So that's kind of what's been going on. There's a lot of good activity going on, but in the Slack community, and I want to show you Slack and kind of walk you through it a little bit here real quick. But we created trying to create a community feel, right? So we have different buildings, different corners, if you will, to kind of give that small town feel. So every town has they all have a general, a general store. We have a barber shop. We have a jailhouse. All these places to have different types of discussions. The diner to talk about real good cybersecurity challenges and things like that. The library, be on mainly on the website, but we'll have some documents and things like that we'll collect up and provide out in the library as we come across them, or as you contribute things, we'll put it in the library. And then we have the different corners, like highlighted here is the CMMC corner, where we'll talk about all the issues around CMMC. And that'll be, I think, very active. We're going to have, corners for other compliance frameworks as well. Like CIS, we'll have CIS corner, we'll have a CSF corner, we'll have PCI corner, HIPAA corner, all those places where directed, focused discussions can occur. All right. So with that, let me kind of talk you through this, because there's been navigation in Slack can be challenging unless you really know how to navigate around Slack. So let me just walk you through this real quick, just to make sure everybody's on the same page with it. So when you first come onto Slack, you'll see a bunch of you'll see some number of hashtags over here on the side. Those are the channels, right? And you may or may not have all the channels, as I found out. I thought when I first set this up, I set it up, as you'll see, like I have groupings of like the workshop, the CMC corner, and group them by the hashtags. My naivete, I thought you all got to see that same way I did. Well, it turns out you don't. So in order for you to get to all the hashtags, what you may have to do is you go down to this add channels, okay? And you click on that and say browse channels. And when that pops up, then you'll see all the channels that are currently available to you, that are visible to you. And you're either have already joined them and you'll have joined, or you can go over here and say, leave it or join it. You'll have if you aren't in it, there'll be a join button over here that you can see and click on, and that'll join you to that channel. So I'd encourage you all to go and kind of hit that button, go in and just add everything, because there's going to be dialogues going on and everything. So that's in order to populate this ugly list, right? Which will just be a list, and then you can group them as you want to, that sort of thing. But because that's so ugly, we wanted a prettier way to demonstrate and to have your easier user interface. So Slack has a concept called canvases. Canvases are a little more pretty. So what we did, so if you go to hashtag general, which you should all have access to hashtag general, and if you go up to the right-hand corner of that, this is the canvases button, and you hit canvas, and you'll see this a little bit nicer layout show up. But what you can do too is click on the three dots and then go to open in a new window. And of course it opens in a different screen. And then I can pull it down here and show you. So this is the canvas for hashtag general. So that's the town hall, what I call the town hall, right? So this is where the overall community information is. All the canvases that I've created so far are on this page, so you can kind of go see them. And then we created this bulletin board, and what we're going to do with the bulletin board canvas, I'm going to open that one in new window, and of course it's going to open up there, and I'm going to bring it back down. Oh, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Okay, there we go. Oops, what happened? It's not the right thing. Okay, let me try that again. Bad demonstration. There we go. Bulletin board. So in this bulletin board, what we're going to, this is kind of like a reader board, right? So anything new going on, new and exciting, we're going to try to highlight it here. At least if it's a hot topic. Anything. So you see what we did. We announced these CMMC office hours. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm gonna be available to you all for an hour. On Tuesdays, it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. And on Thursdays, it's 5 p.m. Eastern time. These are all my times are Eastern time, but it's 5 p.m. Eastern time that I'm available for an hour. And that's just a session to have questions and answers, have discussions. Tell you, it's been so far, I've been very, very pleased. I mean, we've had 3 or 4 people on each of the calls, and the dialogue has been great. The questions have been good, and then today even a discussion came out of it that resulted in a post over on Slack. And some dialogue happening over there. So that's exactly what we want to have happen. The collaboration amongst the members, right? And that was happening in that office hours this morning. So it's very much worth coming to and worth participating in. But bring your questions. There's also a channel for office hours questions if you can't come, but you have a burning question you really want to get answered. You can pop it in there. We'll talk about it. All of the minutes and the recordings of the office hours are going to be posted up on it's another channel called Office Hours Minutes, CMMC Office Hours Minutes. So lots of great information being had there, and good information, good dialogue. So we'll get that going, and so. And we'll post on the bulletin board when things need to be brought to your attention. So you'll want to check the bulletin board every time you come in Slack just to see what's going on. And so there's upcoming events. Well, that was today, July 16th, but next one is Thursday. So this is a link to the post. So if you click on that, then there's the post over on the in the channel that announces the office hours, and it has the invitations. So if you don't have it, you can go over here and click on the link here, and it'll take you to it'll give you the calendar invite for that. Same with the town halls. So there's the town hall was announced up there, and it's here in the hashtag general chat as well. Okay. So any questions from y'all on Slack and anything else you want me to kind of cover on that to clarify anything? I'm going to kind of just open the floor because that's really what I wanted to cover, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other. But one of the topics I wanted to ask you all, and I tried to do it in a Teams poll, but Teams polls apparently don't work very well. So they don't work as well as Zoom polls. So what I wanted to get a sense from you, so the town hall meetings are going to be an opportunity for us to have special topics, special briefings. We can have people brought in that aren't members to give a topic, any kind of special topic that you all want to hear. So from you all, what are the types of things you would want to hear in the town hall meetings? Just come off mute and pipe in.
Actually, I did have one question other than what you're asking. When I tried to go in and open the canvas in a new window, it doesn't give me that option.
Did you hit up there in the three there? The more options option?
I did.
And
I have copy link, save for later, add to start. And there's accessibility that just has keyboard cuts.
That's interesting. And so down below it doesn't say open a new window at all.
No.
Huh. Okay. I will we'll look into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Because I have no idea why that's occurring.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have that experience, or is everybody else able to see it? Kevin, Toby, Matt, or Sean?
Same issue.
Same issue. I'll be darned. Okay, maybe there's a setting I don't know about. I'll research it and we'll find out, and make sure that it's an option available. Because that's a pretty handy option.
Could it be a website versus a desktop app difference?
I'm using the desktop app, so that might be it.
Yeah, I'm using a browser.
And maybe it's the browser issue. I haven't tried it in the browser. Okay, we'll experiment and we'll figure it out.
I'm using the desktop. I don't seem to have any problems with the desktop app.
So it must be a feature of the desktop app and not a feature of the browser app. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that'll be just a nasty note we'll just send off to Slack. Ask them to please fix it. So good. Well, thanks for bringing that up. I didn't know that was an issue. All right. Well, what about topics? What do you think?
I could think of a few. Like one topic to me is, from an MSP's perspective, what questions should we be asking in the meeting to really kind of dig into, a prospect to help find out where FCI or CUI is, kind of just like creating and generating like a template of questions around that so that we make sure that we're covering all the bases. There's obvious questions, but maybe there's questions and creating some kind of list of templates thing, to help uncover where we might need to be with a particular client.
Yeah, kind of like a survey, set of survey questions that we could use to go out and talk to them.
Sure. Sure.
Right.
So for me, as from an MSP's perspective, and I support a couple MSPs, so that I think that the biggest challenge we have is figuring out the scope of the environment that needs to go under assessment that manages the client's environment, because obviously it's a big difference between scope of your own internal capabilities. If I was doing scoping based on what I was providing internally for my own company, but the fact that the scope has to be what environment you're used to supporting your clients. I think the huge challenge that we're going to have is what happens when the scope is very different between clients. I mean, there's no one size fits all for clients.
True.
So this is the thing that I'm struggling with. The way they've put out the proposed rule is, the whole thing says that MSP has to receive their CMMC certification before the client can.
Yeah.
Well, does that mean that once the MSP that they only get assessed on what's on their side of the shared responsibility matrix? And what happens on the client side? Does that mean the client, when they do their CMMC assessment, do they only have to address the things that are on their side of the shared responsibility matrix? And then the other big challenge we have is I have a client that literally has 5 different MSPs. How do you address that those 5 MSPs have to all get certified before their client can?
Yeah.
These are some of the challenges that just keep me up at night.
Yeah. No, that's a great topic.
Wait, you have a client that has 5 different MSPs serving one client. So one is doing backup, the other's doing threat protection, the other's doing blah blah blah.
You got to remember when you have large environments, like there's an MSP for one of my large clients that all they do is patch their server farm. That's the only thing the MSP does. Is patch their server farm. They have another MSP that all they do is every single laptop they issue out to their workforce goes to the MSP. They configure it to their baseline and then ship it to the individual that receives that laptop. But if you read the proposed rule, those 2 people have to be CMMC certified when they're only serving like 2 controls out of the entire 110 controls.
Yeah, but you know what? They're going to have to be certified. I mean, obviously, because they have the keys to the castle. To patch machines, you have to have the keys to the castle. So, whoever that patch is, it sounds to me like whoever client that is, they're going to need to consolidate and like go with a MSP that is CMMC level 2.
And this is not at all unusual what Thad's describing. I mean, he may be talking about a larger organization, but even smaller organizations might have an MSP that's helping them with their day-to-day operations, and then they might hire an MSSP to run their SOC, right? So they're even smaller companies might have 2 or more external service providers, in the CMMC parlance. So that's not uncommon. And to your first point, that I think there definitely is, and that's been one of my arguments all along, is that if an MSP gets a CMMC level 2, that's great. And you should, right? I mean, you should know how you're going to protect your client's information internally. However, that doesn't tell me anything as an assessor. That's my role, right? And as an assessor, that tells me that you're doing good stuff. I can count on certain things, but it doesn't tell me a thing about how you provide services to the client, right? Because you could get certified using internal RMMs or whatever. You pick your poison, and you may use something completely different to provide services. Right. So that may not help me at all when I'm actually looking at what services. And that's where the, a lot of times the shared responsibility matrix, that's why we started a project in the workshop around shared responsibility matrices for MSPs, because it's a little bit different than the traditional thought around shared responsibility matrix. So it's worth taking a look at that, because what we really need to do as MSPs is we need to be able to describe not only, how, yes, we need to get certified, but we also then need to describe for our clients what services are we providing and what security measures what does that mean for you? What am I doing for you? What do you have to do? And that's going to do a number of things, right? That's going to not only help them with their compliance challenges, but it's also going to help you protect yourself from lawsuits, because then your SLAs are going to be rock solid, right? And that's another key thing we have to worry about is, what are their expectations, and managing those expectations. And the shared responsibility matrix is a great way to do that. But that's a great topic, and I think it's a topic worth pursuing, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves over time with the new rule coming out, with the final rule coming out. I don't think it's going to change much from the proposed rule.
Do you think there's any other way around it? Like let's say that MSP has to patch or little pieces or portions of it. Like, do you think that there's any other way that MSP would not have to be level 2? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Thank you. No, if you read the proposed rule, if they're providing any of the security protection, then I think they're going to have to be certified at the 110 control mark. But once again, how do you assess an MSP that's only providing a fraction of the controls? Do you only look at the shared responsibility matrix and assess those controls on the MSP?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just think about this. You're going to require an MSP to make sure that they're not posting CUI on their website. That's one of the controls.
Yep.
Why can't I just mark that as NA? I don't have CUI. I don't have any flow downs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to have some logic into this, and my concern is they're going to throw out the proposed rule. They're going to make it final as is, and then we're going to have to figure out all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's going to happen. But could I suggest something to consider that's within the rule? And Brian, fight me if I'm off here. There's an approach where you could stay out of scope and you could do some work, not a ton of it, but some of it without getting level 2. And that means you would have to have a individual that you hired to them as a 1099, and that person was logging into their system on their equipment using a named account within their system. And then it's like you're placing a life in a seat, right? And then you could avoid having to comply. Is that really scalable? I don't know, but specific to your client doing patching, maybe the client licenses the patching system themselves and they give a named account and hire the company to provide a 1099, and that would keep them out of scope. Again, how does this scale in the MSP world? I don't know. I don't think so,
Yeah.
but
No,
Yeah,
and honestly, that's
covered. That's covered in the proposed rule. Where they say, unless you're considered an external service provider if and only if CUI or security protection data is flowing into your network, into your systems, not just your network, your systems. So if you're in a staff aug kind of scenario like you described, Toby, you're not considered ESP. You're just staff aug. So the OSC would have to do the things like adjudicate, make sure that they have confidence that you're screened properly as an employee. You're running through their same processes and procedures, and all those processes and procedures that the OSC has put in place are followed by the staff aug. So as long as you're not, but the minute you take anything out, right? The minute anything comes back to your network, you try to do things remotely from your MSP laptop, boom, the MSP's in scope.
So and that's honestly, that's the suggestion I made to the client.
Yeah.
They issue them a laptop and they connect from their system.
So nuance of rule stuff, right? And this kind of like goes back 20 years. When you have the client buy the stack and then you sell the person to go in and run it, again, these are like terrible ideas as far as efficiency and where we've evolved as an
Yes.
MSP business, right?
Right.
Putting this single device on the network and having a spot to jump in, huge security implications, but they're old approaches that possibly can be a band-aid while this stuff shakes out. I guess the other thing is, moving to a complete Google or Microsoft stack where you're using all their stuff. Intune Suite. I mean, really expensive licenses, right? But, all the software is licensed by the client, and then you have named accounts in their networks so that none of that data is hitting you. You can sell your MSP service without having level 2 because all of it remains in the client. None of it ever comes over to your side. It's going to require some rethinking about how we deliver services, unless you're going to buy a FedRAMP stack end to end. And we're big, so we're assessing our entire enterprise. Most MSPs can't do what we're doing, so we're trying to think about how to help the people who can't do what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like for an MSP, like right now in our MSP, we're working on like when a ticket comes in, what's the status of that ticket? Is it in progress? Is it complete? How long? And then after the month ends, we'll give a client a report on what our SLA is and like in service and all this sort of stuff. And if we, we need our ticketing system to have that relationship with our client so that we can serve them and provide to them services and whatnot, and to do it well and to prove to them and have quarterly business reviews. I mean, it's not just about protecting CUI. It's also about like giving them, looking at their whole technology stack and like improving it and everything, and having that MSP relationship and doing business reviews with them and trying to help them get better from a business perspective and stuff. So if we can't use, our CRM that we're used to, and that's one of the discussions we're having with, on the Slack channel is like, yeah, with ConnectWise, for example, if that's in GCC high hosted, can we have multiple clients sending in tickets in there, and all that. So, we need to be a full-fledged MSP, I believe. This 1099 idea is just like, sneaker nets, stuff like. So then what do you do how do you have those people take tickets then? How do you track tickets then? If you're doing the 1099 thing, might as well just hire a friggin' employee and forget the whole MSP model then, because it's kind of destroying the MSP model at that rate, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
And
I want to be clear. I wasn't suggesting that is what we should all do. I'm saying it's a way around the rule temporarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
No, and I feel you there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things like that slam you. The potential outcome of some of the rule making could potentially slam us back into the 80s and 90s as far as how far we've come in doing good security for small businesses. But we'll fight tooth and nail against every one of those things. But I think once the DoD gets the rule out and we can actually talk to them again, I think we'll probably get some good interpretations and meaningful direction.
Well, the other question is that what is that MSP using to patch? Like that one MSP, what utility are they using to patch them? And will that utility or whatever they're using be allowed to even patch them?
Right.
I honestly don't. I honestly, I think they're using SCCM to patch the servers, but they might be using that other tool, Beyond Trust. It's the other one that patches. I can't remember. But I was just providing examples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good topic.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to, we're looking forward to the final CMMC rule coming out in, late September, early October, maybe even earlier. Fingers crossed. But when it does, then we can actually get to work. Yeah, we can really dig
So
into it and
we'll be
work
sharing
with the DoD on the interpretations.
our assessment scheduled the first week of December, where Fernando's assessing us, CyberSec. So as soon as we go through that, we'll be sharing, like, you know, what our experience is in whatever way we can. I know Matt's on here too. We ended up
Are
using
you
one.
doing that under a joint surveillance?
No, we're assuming the rule will be out and that
Oh,
we'll be
assuming
allowed
the-
to do it. Our
assuming
backup
the
date
lights
is the
go
first
on.
week of February.
Very
If
good.
for some reason we're not allowed to.
Okay.
But we have Kaseya and ConnectWise on-prem in Azure Gov, and Matt's on here, you know, and that's the approach that we're using to try to constrain it. But we have to do our whole enterprise because we, you know, we're going to have named stuff on our shared responsibility matrix. But again, I'm cognizant that not everybody has the money to do it the way we're doing it, you know. So we're happy to share, you know, what we're doing and how we do
That's
it.
funny.
If it's useful.
That's
So
awesome.
We're the same exact as you, Toby. We're on-prem with ConnectWise and Kaseya. And yeah, I mean, I guess I was planning on getting ConnectWise into the, you know, Gov, or into the GCC, but I hadn't thought about getting Kaseya in there. I have an extra key and ready to do that, but just hadn't. I was thinking that we would use like Beyond Trust because they're already. I was thinking that we would use Beyond Trust for RMM since they're already FedRAMPed, for example. We wouldn't have to have Kaseya because with Kaseya we'd be doing all, you know, the controlling of the machines and all this with Intune and whatnot, and autopilot and all this sort of stuff. So we were entertaining. That might be an interesting discussion. Kaseya versus ConnectWise and Office 365 and all the capabilities. Like, could you shed Kaseya and maybe pick
our
up
hope
Beyond
is
Trust,
to.
for example?
Eventually, we would. I mean, Matt, you have to correct me if my dream is a fantasy here. But I mean, my dream would be in the Microsoft world to live with the Microsoft stack, so I don't have to own that responsibility from a liability standpoint. On the Google side, we sell a lot of Google enclaves and do Google FedRAMP High. Well, Google already does all the stuff. It's like in the license fee, so I don't have to deal with like making sure I have all the different tiers. So Google side, we're good, but the Microsoft side, I'd like to get to all Microsoft and not need Kaseya.
Yeah. Another subject that I think might be interested is like for an MSP, like you know, we're used to crushing out tickets, right? And just on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one, just crush it out. Like and like from a change management perspective, an MSP has a propensity to go in and do a lot of, you know, like not documenting things properly or not tracking things properly. And so how does an MSP need to act when considering a litany of different situations, such as, okay, we're going to add on a new employee. What repercussions does that have to change management, and what all processes need to be considered around all of the different controls, considering, you know, what CMMC is going to bring. And so what is it, you know, like we could sit around and think of all the different scenarios, such as a new user, such as firing, termination, you know, hiring and firing, you know, just those two subjects alone, you know, and imagining the change management around that. And like, so what an MSP used to do and what they have to do now, you know, for example.
No, that's a great topic too, because because basically your processes for how you manage the clients, the OSCs, let's just call them, that to keep secret with it. The OS, how you're managing their staff and their accounts has to follow their process, the process that they got approved, right? And that's another of the disconnects that we were talking about earlier with that. You get assessed and you have a process for onboarding staff and that sort of thing. That's not necessarily the process that all your clients are going to use. The clients may have a completely different onboarding, offboarding process, right? And CMMC doesn't dictate how they do it. It just says you have to have one, right?
Right.
And you have to be able to identify authorized users, and you have to be, and those authorized users have to be the only people that are in the system, right? So there has to be that tie-in with you as the MSP providing that service in order to know, okay, how did that person get approved? What are they supposed to have access to? That drives how you onboard them. So all of that's going to be another area of shared responsibility, and again, there's a disconnect between the process that the MSP has for their own staff and a process that the OSC has for their staff.
So for those like Toby and Toby, I believe that it might come down to things like this. Within ConnectWise, you can create a ticket template, for example. And so we're going to have to like literally probably think through all of the different types of things that happen within a business, match them up to all the controls, also considering the variance that each business will have within that. And so like, let's say client hires somebody, that ticket template will need to enact, and then there will be, gosh, why am I not thinking of the thing? In each ticket, there's a.
Are you saying like a list of tasks in the ticket?
Tasks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The list of tasks. Thank you. Yeah. My brain could not find tasks. I think I'm still waking up from my nap. But yeah, like a templated, all the tasks need to be templated, right?
Yeah.
And maybe there's projects and stuff, standardized projects. So like really, Toby, Brian, we should be thinking about like creating meetings, maybe specifically talking about all of the different tasks and projects as it relates to how we're going to need to be doing this, in this new environment, because it's going to be different.
So I would suggest that, think of it in reverse a little bit, because otherwise we'll drive ourselves out of business. So Gary Pico used to always talk about, and maybe he still does, having your box as an MSP, right? And you want to take all your clients and put them in the box. So your whole team only has to learn one set of things to deliver consistent, very good service, and that it's repeatable and very well documented. As you think about government clients, what you want to do is understand in your shared responsibility what the policies, procedures, and practices that you need to do from a technical and implementation standpoint. When you give your client the SRM, you may wish to say, and here's the process for technical onboarding, moves, add changes, or whatever. I need you to have your change control meeting and integrate this process into your CMMC documents so that you can work with us. All our clients have to follow the same process when you work with us when it comes to moves, adds, and changes. I don't know if this will fly in the market, right? But ideally, we want to be the ones going to our clients and saying, to give you the best price and the best consistent service, here's the shared language you need to integrate into your documentation around this very specific thing of adding a user or removing a user when you work with us with our stack. Listen, this idea is not tested, but I think it's a better approach than trying to have a custom thing for every single client.
Yeah. I think that's a good suggestion. And that may be, if you're in early with the OSC, you can help them establish those processes by, giving them your processes, right? So you can force that hand a little bit and say, hey, here's the process you should follow, and put in your SSP and put in your policies and procedures Maybe even hand them the policies and procedures they follow. You know,
Well,
there's all
so
kind of ways to
Sean,
skin
I
that
hear
cat.
you. Like, I'd be happy. I think we should all work to have some, I'll call them 80% things, you know, where we get it to 80% and each MSP can, you know, make it their own.
Yeah, no, I think that would
love
be
it.
really strong for us all to get together and think of all of this. Because surely, like, you know, it's a big one. You know, for
Yeah.
us all to get together and think about this all together as a team, I think would be very helpful. Big time.
You know, there's a one little feature in Slack that I haven't tried too much yet, but you can in a if you get enough people to come in on a channel, you can create a what is it called, meetup, or what do they call it, a huddle, and it's basically a video conference like this, right? And you do it right in Slack, and you can document this stuff and gather it up, but you can in certainly because we're all across the country in different time zones with different constraints, using Slack as that conduit for brainstorming and things like that, another great place, another great use of it. And all of that will be moderated, and you know, we can pull it together, and if necessary, I can pull together a meeting, right? And we can get as many minds together as possible when the community says, hey, we need to get a brainstorming session together, or we need to get a work session together. We can do that. So that's another advantage of kind of, you know, raising the issues in there and getting them going. But
Yeah, and I think, Kevin, you brought this up in one of your comments, was it earlier today on one of the channels, especially as it relates to ticketing and templates. But
it's in the diner general.
oh, okay, there we go. I felt like it was somewhere I saw him mention
Yeah.
that. So.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I tried to keep it brief because I don't like writing dissertations in Slack channels.
Yeah.
Because it's a long conversation. I mean, as you guys have already mentioned, there is no real simple answer to any of these things. It's a lot of planning and a lot of coordination, but you got to try to tackle the best approach. And I mean, like, I agree with Toby. Standardize your clients, and then you got one solution to fulfill whatever you're going to do. You model that, make your clients adopt it. That's what we're doing. They don't like it. Sorry, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Good. But this is a great dialogue. It's about 2 minutes of the 6, so I'm going to just bring it all to a close. But I really appreciate you all participating and having these chats. And this is exactly what we want to do on these forums, right? Have these kind of open dialogues and open chats, special topics when we need them. Like a couple we heard, you know, a couple ideas, and we'll pursue that. Tell you one I don't know if you all would be interested, if I sure would be, if we get somebody from Beyond Trust to come in and tell us what they do, how they do it. Because I hear different discussions in different forums about what is it they're doing, what are they capable of, what really is FedRAMP and what isn't, you know, and that sort of thing. So
Well, I could tell you Beyond Trust simply, just really easily, they're just remote control. And
that's
they do
what
a little
I
bit
thought.
of
That's what I thought.
just a little password stuff. So they wouldn't be hugely valuable from like a remote management standpoint and all this sort of stuff,
Okay.
or like patch management or any kind of other value add. And if anything, they're more of a risk, just like any other RMM, because you know, they have the potential to transfer files back and forth within their remote control thing too. So that needs to be dealt with if we decide to use Beyond Trust as the flavor of the month.
Okay, good. So it is just remote control. That's what I thought it was, and
yeah.
I think you referred to it as RMM earlier, and I was like, oh, maybe it does more than I thought it did. so that's why it raised the question. But anyway, we'll come up with a set of topics and we'll publish it out. All of this, we're gonna have the minutes and video available to those who couldn't make it tonight. that'll be out on the Slack channel soon with a link. It'll be, what we're doing is we're editing these down, getting all the faux pas that I make out of them, and then publishing them up on YouTube, and then on a private YouTube channel, and then we're providing links in Slack to them. So we'll do that with this as well. So with that, thank you all for coming. And again, if there's topics and things that you do think of that you want to have, just hit me up. You can send me a DM. You can post it in the general topics or in somewhere else. I'll find it because we moderate all these boards are all moderated. So we'll be, if things get hot and heated, well, I'll come down and try to cool down the temperature, assuming I'm not in it. If I'm the one being all hot and heated, then Toby will cool me down. So we're gonna we'll have a good Discord in the community. All right, with that, have a good evening, y'all, and have a good dinner for those of you on the East Coast, and have a good rest of your day on the West Coast, and everywhere in between. All right,
Nice meeting
take
you,
care.
Toby and Kevin.